The ideal human being is supposed to love company, thrive on social interaction, be energized by crowds, conversations, and constant contact. We're told that if you don't enjoy having people over, if you prefer your own company to that of others, then something must be wrong with you. You must be broken somehow. You must need fixing. But here's the delicious irony. The people who feel most uncomfortable with visitors are often the ones who understand something profound about the nature of energy, about the architecture of the self, about the sacred quality of space. They're not running from life. They're protecting something precious. They're honoring a truth that the constantly social, perpetually available, always entertaining crowd has completely forgotten. Your home is not just four walls and a roof. It's not just a place where you keep your furniture and sleep at night. Your home is you. It's the physical manifestation of your inner world. Every room, every corner, every quiet space is a reflection of some aspect of your psyche. And when someone enters that space, they're not just crossing a door, they're crossing a threshold into your own soul. Think about it. When you come home after a long day of wearing your social face, playing your various roles, being the employee, the friend, the responsible adult, what are you really doing? You're returning to yourself. You're taking off the mask, you're letting down your guard, you're finally breathing. Your home is where you stop performing and start being. And then the doorbell rings. Suddenly you have to put the mask back on. You have to activate what I call the social self. That version of you that knows how to make small talk, how to be pleasant, how to play the gracious host. Even in your own sanctuary, you're forced back into performance mode. Is it any wonder you resist this? Is it surprising that something in you recoils? But let's go deeper, because the discomfort you feel about visitors isn't just about maintaining your energy or protecting your peace, though those are perfectly valid reasons. It's about something more fundamental. It's about the way you're wired. At the deepest level, there are essentially two ways human beings relate to the world. Some people get energy from the outside. They recharge with contact, with stimulation, with the presence of others. And if you put them in a room full of people, they light up like a Christmas tree. They feed on the external. The outer world fills their tank, but others, and perhaps you're one of them, function exactly the opposite way. Your energy comes from within. You recharge with solitude, with silence, with the absence of external demands. The outer world doesn't fill you. It drains you in your home. Your private space is where you go to refill the well. When you understand this, the whole picture changes. You're not being difficult when you don't want visitors. You're not being antisocial when you prefer an empty house to a full one. You're simply honoring the way your particular instrument is tuned. A violin doesn't apologize for not sounding like a drum. A river doesn't apologize for flowing downhill. And you don't need to apologize for needing solitude the way others need company. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. Your resistance to visitors might also be telling you something about the state of your inner world. You see, we all carry what I call the shadow. Those parts of ourselves we haven't fully examined, the emotions we've suppressed, the fears we've buried, the aspects of our personality we've learned to hide because they weren't acceptable. And when someone enters your space, especially if you're sensitive, especially if you're paying attention, this isn't rudeness. It's your psyche trying to protect its integrity. Your unconscious knows you're not ready for certain things to be disturbed. You're still sorting through your own inner landscape, and another person's presence makes that work impossible. Think of it this way. Imagine you're working on a very delicate puzzle. You have all the pieces spread out. You're beginning to see the pattern. You're making connections, and then someone walks in and bumps the table. All your work scatters. You have to start over. That's how visitors can feel when you're doing the deep work of understanding yourself. But there's another dimension to this that almost no one talks about. The symbolic dimension. Your house is not just a physical space. It's a symbol of your soul. In dreams, when you dream of a house, you're dreaming of yourself. The mask we wear in company, the social face we show, isn't false exactly, but it's not the whole truth either. It's a necessary adaptation. The living room is where you present yourself to the world. The bedroom is your intimacy, your vulnerability. When someone crosses your threshold and enters your home, They're entering sacred territory. They're stepping into the temple of your being. And if you're someone who takes your inner life seriously, if you're someone who's trying to know yourself, to understand the landscape of your own soul, then having visitors can feel like a violation. Even when they have good intentions, even when they're people you love, because the work of becoming yourself, the real work, happens in private. It happens in silence. It happens when you're alone with your thoughts, your feelings, your questions, your fears. It happens when there's no one to perform for and no one to please, no one whose expectations you have to meet. And this brings us to something crucial. The mask we wear in company, the social face we show, isn't false exactly, but it's not the whole truth either. It's a necessary adaptation. Who decided that the ideal human being is always available, always open, always ready for company. The truth is that some of us are built for different work. Some of us are meant to go deep rather than wide. But when we wear it too long, when we wear it even in our own homes, we start to lose touch with who we really are underneath. Every time you act friendly when your soul is crying out for solitude, you're abandoning yourself. You're choosing the comfort of social acceptance over the truth of your own needs. And here's the trap. You've probably been doing this for so long that you feel guilty for wanting to be alone. Do you think there's something wrong with you? You think you should enjoy having people over. You should be more hospitable, more welcoming, more social. But who says? Who made that rule? Who decided that the ideal human being is always available, always open, always ready for company? The truth is that some of us are built for different work. Some of us are meant to go deep rather than wide. Some of us are meant to know a few people very well, rather than many people superficially. Some of us are meant to spend long periods alone, not because we hate people, but because solitude is where we do our most important work. There's an ancient archetype, an ancestral pattern that appears in stories and myths across all cultures. The hermit, the wise person who lives alone, who withdraws from society, who finds wisdom in solitude. This figure is not a failure. This figure is not someone who couldn't succeed in the world of people. You see, we live in an age where people are drowning in constant stimulation. Everyone is always available, always connected, always responding to the demands of others. The phone rings, messages pile up, obligations multiply. That part of you that doesn't want visitors isn't being difficult. It's responding to an ancestral call. It's following a path that leads inward rather than outward. It's listening to a voice that says, be still, be quiet, be alone, because only in that stillness can you hear what your own soul is trying to tell you. Now, I'm not suggesting you become a complete recluse. I'm not saying you should isolate yourself from all human contact and live in a cave. Balance is necessary. Connection is beautiful. Relationships matter, but what I am saying is this. Your need for solitude is not a problem to solve. Your resistance to visitors is not a character flaw. Your desire to protect your space is not selfishness, it's wisdom. You see, we live in an age where people are drowning in constant stimulation. Everyone is always available, always connected, always responding to the demands of others. The phone rings, messages pile up, obligations multiply, and people wonder why they feel exhausted, scattered, lost. They've forgotten how to be alone with themselves. They've forgotten that the soul needs silence the same way the body needs sleep. When you feel that resistance to having visitors, when you want to keep your door closed, when you prefer an afternoon alone to an afternoon entertaining, you're not rejecting life. You're honoring it. You're saying that your inner world matters, that your peace matters, that your energy matters. You're saying you know that solitude is not emptiness, but fullness. The people who exhaust you with their visits, who drain you with their presence, who make you feel like you have to perform even in your own home, aren't bad people. They're simply living according to a different rhythm. Their instrument is tuned differently. They need what you don't need. They thrive on what drains you, and that's okay. Let them have their parties, their constant company, their busy social lives, but you have permission to choose differently. You have permission to say no. You have permission to protect your solitude like the treasure it is, because here's what no one tells you. The world doesn't just need the social butterflies, the extroverts, the constantly available. The world also needs the hermits. The world needs people who go deep, who think long thoughts, who sit with difficult questions, who aren't distracted by the constant noise of social obligation. The world needs people who know how to be alone without feeling lonely, who can find richness in silence, who can sit in an empty room and discover that the room is actually full. Your discomfort with visitors is pointing you toward your true nature. It's showing you that you're not meant to live on the surface, gliding from one social interaction to the next. You're meant to dive deep. Don't call yourself antisocial or difficult or broken. Listen to what that resistance is telling you. It's telling you that you need to protect your inner world. It's telling you that your energy is precious. And when you honor this, when you stop fighting your own nature, when you stop feeling guilty for wanting to be alone, something remarkable happens. You become more authentic. You become more present. When you choose to be with others, you're really there, not scattered, not exhausted, not wishing you were somewhere else. You can give from full cup rather than an empty one. But to fill that cup, you need silence. You need space. You need your home to be a sanctuary, not a stage. You need time when no one is asking anything of you, when no mask is required, when you can simply be. So the next time someone wants to visit and you feel that familiar resistance rising, don't judge it. Don't call yourself antisocial or difficult or broken. Listen to what that resistance is telling you. It's telling you that you need to protect your inner world. It's telling you that your energy is precious. It's telling you that solitude is not selfishness, but something sacred. You're not obligated to open your door every time someone knocks. You're not obligated to be available, accommodating, perpetually welcoming. You're allowed to keep your space for yourself. You're allowed to say, not today, not now, maybe never, and anyone who truly cares about you will understand. Anyone who respects you will honor your boundaries. Anyone who sees your value won't demand that you sacrifice your peace for their comfort. Your home is your temple. Your solitude is your practice. Your silence is your teacher, and that part of you that doesn't want visitors is not a problem. It's a guide. It's showing you the way back to yourself. So close the door if you need to. Turn off the lights. Let the phone ring. Sit in the stillness. Listen to the sound of your own breathing. Feel the weight of your body in the chair. Notice what arises when there's no one to perform for, no one to please, no one whose needs come before your own. This is where you find yourself. This is where you become whole. This is where the real work happens, and it can only happen in solitude. The outer world will always be there clamoring for your attention, demanding your presence, wanting a piece of you, but the inner world, your world, the landscape of your own soul, that requires protection, that requires boundaries, that requires that sometimes, often, you say no to the outer so you can say yes to the inner. This is not escape. This is not avoidance. This is not fear. This is returning to the source. This is remembering who you are when you're not trying to be someone for someone else. This is the sacred work of becoming yourself. And if that means fewer visitors, less entertaining, more evenings alone, so be it, because in the end, you have to live with yourself far more than you have to live with anyone else. You're simply someone who knows that the most important relationship you'll ever have is the one you have with yourself. And that relationship requires time, space, and silence to grow. Your home is not a public space. The more comfortable you are with solitude, the more genuinely you can connect with others. The more you honor your need for silence, the more present you can be when you speak. So the next time you feel that tension when the doorbell rings, that resistance when someone wants to visit, don't apologize, don't explain, don't justify. Simply honor what you know to be true. You're showing up as you really are, whole, grounded, clear, and that kind of presence is rare. That kind of authenticity is precious. So trust the part of you that doesn't want visitors. Trust the wisdom of your resistance. Trust that your need for solitude is pointing you towards something essential about who you are and what you need to thrive. You're not broken. You're not difficult. You're not wrong. You're simply someone who knows that the most important relationship you'll ever have is the one you have with yourself. And that relationship requires time, space, and silence to grow. Your home is not a public space. Your energy is not community property. Your time is not there to be taken. These things belong to you, and you have every right to protect them. So the next time you feel that tension when the doorbell rings, that resistance when someone wants to visit, don't apologize. Don't explain. Don't justify. Simply honor what you know to be true. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do for yourself is close the door, turn the lock, and sit in the silence of your own company, because that's where you're most at home. That's where you're most yourself. That's where you remember what matters. And what matters is not how many people you entertain, how social you appear, how available you make yourself. What matters is whether you're true to your own nature, whether you honor your own needs, whether you protect the space where your soul can breathe. The hermit with the lantern walking alone at night is not lost. They're finding their way, and the light they carry is not borrowed from anyone else. It's the light of their own understanding, discovered in solitude, nurtured in silence, protected from the wind. That light lives in you too, and sometimes, often, it can only shine when you're alone.